Action, like shit. Welcome back. I'm back. You back. We back. Like a fine hoe. You already know it's me. It's your girl P, your favorite bitch and your favorite witch. Welcome to this week's episode of Postscript. Welcome to season 2. You were a real one if you've made it this far. If you have watched all 12 previous episodes. If not, cut this off and I made you go back and start from the beginning so you can get a feel for the channel, get a feel for my sense of humor, get a feel for my delivery, all that good shit. Right. This is episode 1 of season 2. So let's just jump into it. The first thing we're going to jump into is the fact that I look chewed. I know. My hair looks a mess. I need to get my hair done so bad. I refuse to get my hair done 3 times within the next 2 months. So I'm going to just wait until next week to get my hair done and then kind of let that like do its thing. And then little do my sister know, I'm going to ask her to restyle my hair a little bit when we get to Vegas. Nothing too crazy though, but I am going to ask her to restyle it because I'm not getting like a real style the first time. I'm going to just get like the top braided up, but I'm getting too much in detail. We ain't here to talk about that, girl. But yeah, I know I look crazy. I'm giving the girls my best Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch. Fuck your couch. Like, all right, let's get into the episode. I don't know how I haven't talked about none of the songs off this album yet, but Megan's album, Megan. I'm late talking about this, I know, but when I listened to Chloe's new album the other day, it sparked a little memory, and I was like, I gotta talk about this because the girls are talking about this. So for this week's bar for bar, we're gonna talk about how I'm very, and this also ties into conscious cunt too. I love when I do that, when I have segments that are late. But I want to talk about Downstairs DJ by Megan Thee Stallion off her Megan album. I want to talk about Rose by Chloe, and I want to talk about Same Lingerie by Chloe. Shout out to the girls. Shout out to the girls because I don't think I've ever really, I don't know, maybe I never paid attention, but I don't think back in the day girls was talking about masturbation with the girls talking about it now. And I'm here for it. I love it. It's so like, y'all know how Chloe get down. She don't play no games. Like, that's my girl. Y'all, I'm sure y'all know Rose. Y'all know Rose by now. I've seen people talking about it on Twitter and stuff. But if you aren't familiar with Same Lingerie, literally like the first words to the chorus is, I ought to just go and play with myself. I've been needing some me time. Some shit like that. But, and then Downstairs DJ, my favorite part, is what Becca say. On the ones, on the twos, I'm spinning my shit. It's DJ Fresh Tip heavy in the mix. She ate that. Yeah, ate that. And then the Rose. Fuck them flowers, get my rose. I can get that on my own. Shout out to the girls. I really just wanted to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about conscious cunts. So I was listening to this podcast that I listened to by Juju Bay. So the podcast is called Little Juju Podcast by Juju Bay. So shout out to my girl. She's always having like good guests and stuff on there. So there was a lady she was interviewing named LaVon Proverbs, and she was a self and like spiritually and sensually centered person of the word, of the good book, because I don't want to use the wrong term, reverend, priest, pastor, I don't know. I don't remember right now. She was saying some real like interesting shit. And she was just like, masturbation is a gift from God. And I was like, I've never heard those words come out of anybody's mouth, but period. And then she was just making points of like, what if we all were just more orgasmed? What if we were all more comfortable with masturbation? Or what if we were all more familiar with like our what do you want to call it? I guess pleasure principle and I was just like, yeah, what if? I feel like people would be a lot happier. And then I just loved that her name was LaVon Proverbs. She said that she was previously like a spoken word, slam poetry artist and things like that. And the interview was just very interesting to watch. And I just wanted to share that because I ain't never heard like nobody say nothing like that. And I was like, that's a bop. Somebody need to hear that. I like that. So for favorite pieces, I just want to talk about these cute little dragon fruit candles that I found at none other in Dollar Tree. You already know. I like these white handles for like my altar because they're white. And they also smell like linen. I usually just use like tea lights or just like white regular candles. But when I saw these, I was like, oh my God, they smell good. So I got those. I did want to talk about that for P's favorite pieces. Oh, and then I also got a couple different fragrance oils from Dollar Tree. One of them is Harvest Apple. What does it say? Fall Cinnamon. What does this one say? Pumpkin Ginger Ale. And this one is Crimson Cranberry. So I'm very excited about that. I can put those in like my little oil burner if I want to. Put them in like with like some warm water. A couple drops in there with in a spray bottle. Make like a nice little mist. Yeah, I can do a lot with that. So I'm very excited about those. Oh, and they also had this too. So I could probably put some of this and maybe a couple drops of one of those in another bottle, make my own little fragrance. I'm just always trying to have it smelling good, you know? Because I did my human design chart. I don't know if y'all familiar with that, but it said that smell was my strongest scent. And I said, yeah, you absolutely right about that because I'm very sensitive to smell. Like, I can't deal with stuff that don't smell right. That's all I can say. Okay, now we're just going to have a little rundown real quick of what's been happening, what's to come. And then next episode, we'll be back on track with me speaking about the subjects that I talked about last episode. Okay. All right. So on the 2nd of September, we had a new moon in Virgo. So that was given very much, okay, it's time to order your commitments, order your steps, figure out what's happening, set yourself up for success. Get your routine together and your, you know what I'm saying, your yeses and your nos in order. Be ready. And then on September 4th, Mars entered Cancer, and Mars is the planet of action and like energy. And like I said, commitment. Very much ties to what I was speaking to before of getting something done, like committing to a task, stuff like that. And it was in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is the sign of like home, very personal things, mother things, very like nurture kind of thing. And like I think sometimes people only think nurture has one meaning, but nurture is all those things that I said before, setting yourself up for success so that you can have an easy day, an easy tomorrow, because you deserve that. And then on the 8th, Mercury entered Virgo. And that's probably like one of the main things I want to talk about in this episode, because that's giving, and I don't want to be cringy and be that person, but that energy is given very much. It's time for you to get an understanding. Like, fuck understanding things. I need you to get in tune with you. It's time to get an understanding of things, because the timeline that we on, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, it's really changing. I always tell y'all, thinking like the dial has been turned yet again, but it ain't locked in yet, right? Okay, we're gonna get into that. Mercury is the planet of communication. Virgo is the sign of justice, order, compartmentalizing, containing things, that kind of thing. And then on the 17th of September, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And I don't know, the energy that's really given is like cut cords of things. And the stuff specifically that you probably are ignoring due to the dreamy like feeling of them. If I don't know how to make that any plainer, but stuff that feels cushy and good and you like hopeful for kind of, but you know it's not really like doing anything or going anywhere or doing something. It's a wrap. So like with the full moon lunar eclipse, we've talked about eclipses before. That was the first thing we talked about on this channel. And as I've stated, you know, they're a jump forward. They're like jumper cables, or like they gonna give you full speed ahead. Like they gonna just push you forward. And sometimes you might not be ready for it, and there might not be things that are always easy. It's a good time for you to start planning how you want to implement active participation into your life. And I don't know if I even have a definition for active participation, but you're either a person that's like, stuff happens to me or stuff happens for me. No shade. But the people who feel like stuff happens to them all the time, they might not be actively participating. That's all I can say. So like I said earlier when I was speaking of the dial being turned, but it's not quite locked in yet, new foundation is being built and rebuilt. Because some people all the time don't need a whole clean swipe. They just need to clean up some little corners, figure, and they can keep going. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes people need a whole clean slate, clean white, just start over. So, you know, things are being built and rebuilt right now. And as I said, eclipses are transformative, so it's not going to be like easy or pretty. It's giving. You driving the boat. Fuck, let me drive the boat. You driving it. Like, and another thing that I'm like getting, the image I'm getting is like, you know, when you take kids bowling and they put the little bumpers up, them is down. You need to strike. Get 7 out of 10 or something. You need to make something happen. And one of my little favorite things to say is just like, time is fake. Nobody, like, people are like, I don't have time. Nobody has time. It's just a thing that happens like throughout the day. But you can either figure out, I'm gonna look at these numbers, I'm gonna make things happen between these numbers and that number, or you could just let time just keep rolling by you, and that's just what happens. Also, like any eclipses and stuff like that, I don't necessarily like do anything with the full moon or new moon during eclipses, just because it just be a lot of shit going on. So like I know a lot of people like to like manifest with full moons and stuff, but I don't really participate in that too much during eclipse time, for real, for real. Surrender, release, and rebirth. That's what I want to say that the full moon, that lunar eclipse in Pisces that we just had was given, honestly, truthfully. So, and it's also kind of given like a little bit of like purgatory energy, if that makes sense. You might feel like in limbo, like gray area, like hold up, I'm not quite left, I'm not quite right, I'm somewhere in between. So like cycles are ending, cycles are starting, but I'm gonna talk about the astrology of that a little bit later. So on the shadow side of that, like, and when I say things like on the shadow side, I mean like in the negative lighting. Be aware of like disbandments or like things come to an end, maybe relationships or partnerships or deals you might have had at work, or like certain contracts or something like that. And with all of that, clashes are a lot more likely. So just be a little more self-aware of how you handle what's the quote that Nipsey said? Something about we gotta do better about how we react when we feel disrespected or something like that. Yeah. So in May, Jupiter went in Gemini. I'm not sure if I talked about that on this channel, but I'm almost sure I did. So that's giving like gratitude, being ungrateful for what you have and what's to come. And not only that, like, but bearing witness to how you've changed or grown and gotten new skills in lieu of maybe what you have witnessed or survived or went through. And then think about, you know, the positive reinforcement that that has on you today and how you are as a person. Because I have a lot of that. Another thing that was funny was this other dude that I follow named Paul. He is really good with like numerology and stuff like that, but he also is into astrology, sidereal specifically. And I do tropical astrology. I just haven't taken the time to learn a new system yet. I'm just now learning this one for real, so not too much on me. It's another like time for you to be like, kind of like how I said, aware of how you react. Like, be aware of your triggers. Paul was like, nigga, I don't know your boundaries. It's given very much the season of identifying, understanding. Like I said, anxiety is definitely on the menu, and that usually is going to stem from the uncertainty of the things that may resurface through the eclipse, or the things that you may come to the realization of. And kind of like I said, the cushy things that you may kind of be like ignoring, that you finally have to face and be like, all right, I need to do something about this. So just be aware of that too. Try not to be like super indecisive. Let shit play out completely as best as you can before you start doing shit, and then you be uncalculated and then be like, damn, I should have done that. You know what I'm saying? As hard as it may be, just trust. Things are happening for you, not to you. Like I said earlier, just to kind of tie that back into it. Just trust. I know full moons can like either make you like very insomniac, or it can very like much make you feel drained and tired. So if you do feel like drained or tired, try to rest. Even if you do feel the insomniac part, still try to rest. Because Pisces also rule the dream space, and like I just said, we just recently had a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, so the veil is very thin, so pay attention to your dreams. I had a very weird dream the other night, and I don't usually remember my dreams for real, not all the time. Sometimes I do. It's just like, but I know what the dream was about once I like woke up and like processed, and I was just like, that's crazy. I love to talk self-care. That's just my jam. Like I said, that nurture thing. And that don't always mean like, oh, get my hair done, go get my toes done. Like that could be lighting a candle, relaxing, putting on some music, having you a little glass of wine or something. It could be you stretching in front of the mirror. That's what I love to do. That's like my favorite way to like really like unwind before I go to bed and shit. It could be you soaking your feet while you sitting in front of the TV and get you some little Epsom salt or something. It could be you taking a bath or whatever. Like, it don't have to be something that costs you a lot of money or any money at all, honestly, truthfully. It could be you going in the kitchen and making your favorite iced coffee. That could be your self-care. But do something for you. Like I said, cycles are ending. It's giving very much the culmination, the wrap-up, the tie-up. The veil is thin, so it's giving very much heavy on the protection, heavy on the cleansing. I mean that in the most energetically spiritual way possible. This is the first Pisces lunar eclipse since 2017, so that's another thing to tie together of cycles that may have been starting or ending then versus things that are starting and ending now. So think back to then to now as well. So your creative side might be like, you might just be getting like crazy downloads and ideas and all. Like, pay attention to all of that. Your dreams, your downloads, your ideas, all of that. Pay attention to all of that right now. Because I know, like, for me, the energy that I've been in so crazy recently is like very much 10th house energy, like my legacy. I've really been like realizing that I'm not gonna be able to do nothing for the next 2 years because I really genuinely cannot wait to have my homestead. And I know that's gonna be a sacrifice that I'm willing to do and give. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't wait. I can't wait to invite people to it. I can't wait to start profiting off of my land and things like that, and just take it one step closer to being even more me, the biggest P. Yeah. So the energy with that, like, is giving foster connections with those who can be of service. And I don't mean just like shit that you can ask them to do, or run to the store for me to do this. That, like, no, people who can give you knowledge or information or connections or ties to things that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. So, like, yeah, that's just giving very much. Close mouths don't get fed. Dana Lynn Knuckles, I believe is her name, is another person that Juju had on the podcast who I was listening to the other day. And she was just like, you gotta be entitled enough to acknowledge your needs and make them known. Not only to know what they are, but to acknowledge that they deserve to be fulfilled. And I was just like, period. That very much ties back into, like I was saying what Paul said, I don't know your boundaries, nigga. Like, you gotta let me know what's up. Pisces, on the shadow side of that, you know, they also rule like illnesses, things like addiction, the unseen. They're also like a water sign, so like if you think about that right now with like, with the things like I'm saying on the shadow side of them and what they're related to or associated with, you gotta think about like water, like the ocean. If it wasn't beach and then ocean, it would just be ocean. Like, it has to be some separation. Like, you need the ocean floor to hold the water. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to be put in something. Like, water has to be contained or it's fucking catastrophic. Yeah. So just make sure y'all mask up, wash your hands, wrap your heads if you want around strangers. Protect yourself, cleanse your house, cleanse your items. Specifically your bathroom and your kitchen. Those are some of the most important portals in your home. And then some questions that I also want to ask that one of the ladies, Empress Karen, she asked on her Instagram, and I was just like, you're speaking. I want to share that with some other people. So her Instagram is like at Empress Karen. Just like that. If you can't spell, you slow. Just say that. She was like, you know, when did you get grown? When did you grow up? When did you cross that threshold of this is not a joke anymore? I have to take care of myself. And not only that, but like, what were certain things that like stopped that made you be like, oh, This is not a fucking game. This is really real adult time. It's just a cute little journal prompt if you want to do that or think about that or have a voice note and answer that question after this video, because we're towards the end now. And then another thing, it's not a question, but it's just a message that I need to say that somebody need to hear. It's something that you don't have physically that you're allowing to affect you mentally, and don't do that. Like Big Gates said, nothing external adds value. Yeah. I hate that he's such a troll because he makes really good music and he has really positive and affirming messages in his music, but he's such a troll that it gets lost in all of that. But yeah, nothing external adds value. So don't let that shit have you losing sleep or nothing like that. Of course, as I always say, everything's easier said than done on this channel. And then on the 22nd of September, the sun entered Libra. And as you know, Libra season starts on September 23rd. With that, search for fairness, search for equality, justice, and just something that makes sense for everybody. Stay grounded and realistic with all the Pisces energy that's going on too. Welcome to Libra season. Love y'all. And that's been this week's episode. I will see you guys next week. Back with another episode of PS. You already know how we end. Bitches be mad because they be hating, and bitches be hating because they be mad. Bye, y'all.